Welcome everybody to this week's KubeVirt community meeting. It is the 5th of March, which means it's version 1.5 release day. I hope you're all doing well. Is there anyone who is new here this week, or if you're not new, that haven't taken the opportunity to introduce yourself? I'll take that as a no. I'll run that subject, just like Felix is doing right now. If you could please add your name to the attendees if you haven't already. I often forget. So it seems a bit silly to look at the schedule, but we're going to do it anyway. So today is, our 1.5 release day. And now I thought CDI was, releasing next week, but it has the 1.62 release here with the 3rd of March. Is anyone from SIG Storage able to clarify that? Well, then, we might have a surprise CDI release today as well, although I highly doubt it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be next week. Let's have a look at the upcoming CFP check-in. We still have time for KubeCon Cloud Native Con India, which is due in March 23rd. That'll be in August, early August. And Container Days is still open at the moment. Actually, I haven't added it because they extended the dates. You might have seen my email about DevConf. So DevConf is open until the 9th of March, which I think is Sunday. And also in that email, which we might jump to, since it's here, just really quickly, go back. This one, the KCD Bratislava is, I think, a week before DevConf. And it is still open. Yes, until the 14th of March. So yeah, I think a 2-hour train ride between them, if you're in the area or interested in being in the area. And aside from that, also in the events, we've got a few things coming up. Container Summit, KubeCon Europe, and StackConf. So if you're going to be attending those places and not already aware of you, please reach out. We've got a booth at KubeCon, and we'll have speakers at the other two. Okay. Awesome. And Federico has just put into chat that the 1.6 release schedule proposal will be published soon, the ominous soon. Thanks, Federico. So today is 1.5 release day. Vlad, did you want to say something?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. your name pops up. 1.5 release date. The release notes here, it does need to be ACT. So this is still a manual process, and I just use a lot of the tags. To put this, I've been told that there's probably a mistake or two in the API change. So if you are in any of these SIGs that have been tagged on this, if you'd please take a look and just make sure that everything is as it should be, because the release notes are pretty important, actually. And it's good to have them, the right release notes in the right category. And if you could do that, today-ish before we publish the release, that would be greatly appreciated. Do we have any questions on that? Perfect. And I think this is, I might pass it over to Vladik in a second, put him on the spot. But as we head out of the 1.5 and into 1.6, we will be transitioning away from design proposals in the community repo and creating virtualization enhancement proposals in the enhancements repo. And we will be looking into that when we get to the mailing list review. That is correct, is it not, Vladik? Now is the time to start pushing everything there?
Yeah, absolutely. And Lubo has a PR that kind of improves the process and just explanation around the process. So please review. Maybe I'll attach it here.
I've got a link down in the mailing list review, which,
Yeah,
I mean, we can jump ahead and look at that since it's on topic. Down here. And so this was well-traversed topic in the unconference last week. And there was, I think, a lot of clarity required on this process and timelines and what's expected in that. And I think I haven't had a chance to look at this, but I believe this is Lubo attempting to add that clarity into the process. So please give it a look, give it a read. I will also give it a read and provide my thoughts. I just make sure that this does meet the expectations of what you expect when you go to that repo, and I'm entirely sure what the process is. But this should answer all of those questions before you have them. Speaking of questions, do we have any questions on VEPs? Good. We have a few things on the open floor. So one I just wanted to point to was this one, which is that this design proposal from last year has been merged. I guess this is the last one from this old way of doing things, maybe. Improved handling of the VM ID. So I believe this is the correcting the UUID, which will now be a bit more U. Daniel, you've got the next point.
Yeah. Just to be sure, can everyone hear me?
We sure can.
Okay, so basically I wasn't sure if I should put this PR in the open flow or in the pull request that needs attention. But I've brought this up because I need to discuss something regarding the implementation of this PR. Basically, what this PR is trying to do is to allow users to modify the termination grace period for their VMs to affect the immediate deletion of the VMI and the launcher pod. Basically, the initial topic of this PR was started because, like, in Windows templates, they have like an high grace period termination, and if someone wants to override it, like force delete the VM, basically he can't because Kubernetes doesn't allow grace period support for custom resources. So what I try to do is to modify the field using like patch and then make sure it propagates to the virtual machine instance and then to the virt launcher deletion. And I've managed to do it by introducing the termination grace period as a live updatable field. My question is, because the rollout strategy by default is set to stage, which will require a restart for the virtual machine to take effect of the changes. So if we are using a stage virtual machine rollout strategy, this specific field is kinda pointless to have the virtual machine reset just for this field to take for the change of this field to take effect. So if you will have to like wait for 1 hour of the initial grace termination you had for your Windows machine just to make sure you want to change the field to a low value 0 or something. So I would like some people to just chime in on this. What do you think we should, what's the behavior should be like if the rollout strategy is staged, and maybe we should update this field anyways, or just ignore it? Anyone, if you want to say something.
Daniel, there is a PR for setting live as a default. So, one question: do you think you will need to backport this?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. I don't know. To be honest, in my opinion, we could make it always live updatable. It goes a little bit against the API, the meaning, but I don't know.
Just wanted to ask, do we have other fields which are already live updatable all the time?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think all the fields that we are live update that are live updatable are only being affected when the cluster config is set to live update, like the rollout strategy.
So to be precise, the only thing we can change on the VM spec are hot plug volumes, but because we have imperative hot plug that was implemented before all live updatable fields. So those are the only one I know that don't follow.
To be honest, I don't see a reason anymore to keep
Stage.
stage. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It makes just, I mean, we have a lot, we have some tests, for example, all the tasks for volume migration are serial because I need to set up live. Yeah, I agree with you, like, but the problem is if Daniel wants to backport this, we still have stage as a default for the other branches.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm not actually have to backport because it's not like it's not a bug fix. It's just like enabling a feature for clients. But I'm gonna have to recheck if if backport is required in this case.
Yeah, if it's not required, we might wait for live to become default. And you don't have this problem anymore, basically.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Daniel. Another Daniel as the next one.
Yeah, hey everyone, can you hear me?
We sure can.
Thanks. A while ago I put up like a pull request in KubeVirt that creates a basic coverage report so that everyone can see their coverage on the unit test. And I just wanted to ask for the feedback on that one since I didn't hear anything recently. So is it good to go for an initial stab on that, or do I need to improve it, or is anything missing? So these are my questions, I think.
From what I saw, I think it looked fine. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Felix, Daniel. Sorry, I think initially I was asking you about this. I didn't have time to go back to this, but for me it looked great. Yeah.
Okay, so it can go in like this probably. Okay, then yeah, then I'm just going to switch it to ready for review, and then we see how that it goes in. Thanks.
Don't go anywhere because you've got the next one as well.
Okay. Yeah, the second one, excuse me. The second one is an effort on the check test for flakes lane. There is lots of complaints because like tests are being rerun that haven't even been touched on pull requests. And so I created a tool that can actually like find out which tests really have been changed. What I'm trying to do with this PR is integrating that tool and just running the tests that have been changed in a pull request. So this should largely cut down on rerun tests that have been that are executed to this lane, which should benefit like the feedback on the flakiness. In the long run, I'm planning to run them probably more than 5 times as it's right now. But yeah, so initial thing is just to replace the logic with running only the tests that have been changed. I just wanted to raise awareness on this one because I think it is quite important due to people not understanding that actually we didn't have a better measure to just run all the tests inside a touch test file, but now we have, and hopefully that goes into like usability of the CI improvements. Yeah, so if there is the feedback right away. Sorry, Vladek, you wanted to say something, I think.
It could have been me. I was just starting to say something.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I think I was just saying nice one. And yeah, if anyone had any questions or comments on that. But it sounds very quiet. If you do have any questions or comments, throw them on the PR. Thank you, Daniel. And Alay.
Hey, I just had a small announcement to make. More discussions on the DRA support in KubeVirt is continuing right after this meeting at 11 EST. So everyone who's involved, please, if you can make it there, that'll be great. Just wanted to share that.
If this meeting finishes early, did you want to just go straight into that, or is it better just to wait for the top of the hour?
I think let's do top of the hour
Okay.
for people who are not in this meeting to join as well.
Yeah, fair enough. And Nira, sneaking at the last minute.
Nice. Yeah, I published a PR. Actually, it was published long ago, and there was a lot of discussion over it about the cleanup of tests. So today, tests are cleaned up after every node is run. And I published a PR that that adds a new label. That if you add this label and run an ordered test, your test will be cleaned up only after the whole order container is completed. And there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of opposition, and we still have a problem that our tests are taking way too long. And I want to find out if people have any alternative solution to that. And if not, why not accept this PR? So if anybody has anything to say or suggest, then I'm glad to hear it. Daniel Healer responded, Felix reviewed, Federico, Lubo, they were all involved in the discussion.
So I'm not sure if I'm going to repeat myself, as I have at least shortly chimed into the PR of yours. By the way, I understand what you're trying to solve. The thing is about that this screams for test order dependencies. I think as I have tried to point out, and others also have tried to point out, basically test order dependencies are a very bad thing. And if we could somehow make it absolutely sure that somehow it would be debuggable well enough somehow that we would just directly see at which stage it's failing and why it is failing. Because like if you have like a set of tests that are run one after the other, you never know normally at what stage actually the test dependency was introduced, and this might increase the complexity of the test scenario by multiple times. And I think that was basically the reason why we always did try to have completely isolated tests, even when we are looking at an E2E test scenario. I hope that somehow makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but the problem is that we're working with a framework that's not like PyTest that has fixtures and things like that. And here, there really is no way for us to clean up only after a bunch of tests have completed. And usually, I mean, if you look at QE tests, for example, then they would run multiple tests on the same set of VMs. And I think we're basically suffering from deficiencies in the Ginkgo framework that we're using, and maybe this is some kind of an abuse what I'm doing, but I couldn't think of any other solution. And I think that people have spoken to Onsi, the creator of Ginkgo, and he also admitted that there's no other way to do that, and we need to spend less time deleting VMs.
Hi here. Just a question. Do we already checked if two or more tests can be merged together, for example? I mean, this is something that we are doing in Compute, for example. We analyze some, the test suite, and if we found that two or more tests can be merged together because I don't know, for example, they're on the same topic or they're already close and the setup is barely the same, we just merge them. And I was just wondering, was this already done or not?
Yeah, so we're in the process of doing that, but then what you have is you probably have multiple expects, one after the other, right? Because that's probably the way you merge tests. You wanna check different things on the same VM, right? So you have multiple expects, and then if one of them failed, it's not they all considered a failure in the same test. So you don't have the granularity of reporting which one of them failed. I mean, you know that an expect failed, and you know in which row it was, but you don't know that this topic in this test failed.
Why not? You can customize your expectation. For example, every expect, you can provide an additional description, and not only
Yes,
the
right,
the row, but why.
Yeah, but then in the statistics, when you look at all the test cases and you look at the reports that we get out of Ginkgo.
Okay.
So
yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I sort of. Can I ask? I sort of asked you already in our private chat, and Lubo made the same comment on the PR again. Can you actually show how much this allows us to save? because
Yeah.
as Lobo mentions, you need to outweigh the parallelism.
What did he say about the parallel? Oh, consider what? Yeah. It's it's not. It doesn't go against the parallelism. Ordered tests can still be run in parallel and also prove that. So it's not either or, parallel tests.
But we can actually do a POC to sort of show in which direction this goes.
Yeah, I actually did 2 POCs today, and I'm going to publish their results.
Yeah,
So, we don't need. Yeah, did anybody want to say anything? Yeah.
Yeah, I would have another question. I'm not sure if Ginkgo allows that. I think probably Golang does not, but Golang is really good at running things concurrently. So if the problem is starting and deleting VMs takes time, is there a possibility to do the startup and deletion of the VMs while another test runs? Since we do run VMs as pods, so they shouldn't conflict with each other. So if we can do the startup and cleanup of a VM while another test does its actual test run, we could also speed things up without having the drawbacks. Well, we have the drawback of having to do this kind of concurrently, but
Yes, we can absolutely do that. But this requires us to get over the global after each that now deletes the whole environment.
Please correct me, but is this any different from just running tests in parallel? If you run 2, 3 tests in parallel in different namespaces, isn't that kind of the same thing that Jan suggested?
Probably.
It's a little different because the parallelism of Ginkgo is parallel processes, and as opposed to parallel Go routines. But I think that it might yield the same results.
No, but it's not. You are. For the last suggestion, no, you cannot do it in reality because in theory you can do it if you had infinite memory and CPU and stuff like that. The problem is that currently we are limiting the number of concurrent execution of tests, and that is usually coming from the limit of how much memory we have and how much CPU we have and so on. So you cannot keep the VM. You cannot have like 100 VMs running in the background while you start another test because you don't have capacity on those nodes.
But you can play games that you start to delete a VM while a test is doing something else, and at the same time you run it. You can play more sophisticated games or optimizations, I think.
Anyway,
yeah, but that's maybe over pushing it.
I just wanted to say one thing is that my feeling is because I saw the same discussion existed actually. I don't know, when I came to the project from a different project, which there we used PyTest indeed. And my feeling is here that we are a bit stuck with how we see things. I mean, there are many ways to solve a problem, and the way here the problem was solved is okay. But when we want to do something more interesting and improve it, we are getting stuck. So the part that we are getting stuck at, I think, is for example, the concept of cleaning in the end of a test or in the beginning of a test is for everything to clean everything. It's a bad one. I mean, I can argue why it's really, really bad. For example, you have a test and it runs and it creates a new object now. Now, if the person that created that new object didn't went to the cleanup handler, which is independent from the test, and didn't add that cleanup of that new object there, it will be left there. No one will delete it. And we had it already. It happened. It happened already, and it was solved after a few weeks after it was we detected it. So I don't think the solution, for example, the existing solution has its wins. It's simple. I guess it's we can consider it simple. The one that write the test doesn't need to worry about it, and so on and so on. However, it does collide with the fact that whatever you create, you need to restore back, and that concept is not enforced in this project. And yes, there are other testing frameworks that solve it, but it's not in Go.
I agree.
I mean, I think I pointed already out that I am not totally against this. But the thing is, I would rather like to see this in the edge cases of the project, like when you're in a situation that you have like a very cumbersome setup process, and you want to preserve that and want to test the kind of thing, a couple of things behind after each other, then I would agree that that ordered approach would be like solving that problem somehow. However, I think this should be reserved for edge cases, and we should probably try to establish rules about that, like as you did, for example, like hacking our overall framework with a label, so that this is only allowed when we are using such a label, and this will automatically clean up at the end. But yeah, so to raise the awareness that this label is actually not for everyone to use, but only in real edge cases where you need to have the performance somehow. So that's what I would want to point out, because so we've been burned a lot by test order dependencies somehow so this is the major cause of flakes in our project, and I think under no circumstance we want to get back to that route again anyhow. So I to be honest, I don't know how to solve it entirely, but yeah, let's just try to work on the PR and see that we also do some documentation updates about the label probably, and so like explain what the use cases for this label are, and pretty much in detail, if that works for everyone. So that would be my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I can absolutely do that, but just note that if your test is not ordered and you just use the label, it doesn't do anything. So
yes, I understand. So, but the thing is, if you use the label and you have an ordered container, so you could also document that, right? That this is just only working in an ordered container. But also you should document that this is just like an edge case label that you just use in special occasions. Somehow, something like that. I don't know.
I'm glad to do that.
And maybe there is I mean, I understand the concern here, and I understand that there is it feels like to me that it sounds like you are concerned about people using it in the wrong way, I guess, right? So
yeah,
I will be if you have an idea of how we can make it like per sig, for example, like every sig will take will decide if this is if they take the risk or not, and it's up to them, because anyway the jobs that are executing now are in effect per sig. So if there is a job that fails, then it will be the problem of that sig most likely. And if there are execution of tests that involve I don't know, not per sig, then disallow this case or something like that. But I mean, if you have an idea of how this can be deferred to the specific sig, and it should not affect others, then I think that's also makes sense. Like in the
Yeah,
end, it's someone
sorry.
needs to take this risk.
Yeah, sorry. I agree on the separation per sig, but we also are part of the same project. So I also think that there should not be so many divergence from every sig. You know, it's not like okay, this sig, I don't know, storage do something that is totally complementary to what, for example, compute does. So I agree on the separation of of rights on and what the edges, okay, of the things. But I also think that the vision should be one for the entire project. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, but you are saying that. But per my understanding is that you are afraid to, or you are not. Sorry, it's not you. You are very concerned about misuse of this option because, as I saw the solution, you need to explicitly ask for it and explicitly use other like at least two things in order to make it work. Now you are saying that you are concerned about someone using that and not doing it correctly. So I'm okay with what you are saying, but I don't understand how we can do. I mean, how we can do something that is needed in one place if we cannot ask someone to own it, like something like that. I will say. I understand what you're saying about being consistent, but I'm not sure if everything is the same. I mean, everyone is working in the same way. I'm pretty sure we could. Each one will use different libraries, different techniques to do some of the things. They some care more about the code quality, some care less, some have more features, some have less features. It's not everything the same. So some have more people, some have less people. So it's like I understand what you are saying, but I don't understand how we can go forward with it given this problem now.
Eddie, you said that it might make tests fail, but what about cases where this makes tests pass but should have failed? Have you thought of that?
How can it cause a test to pass? It's like you need. It's like just to make it clear. It depends how you look at this. As I look at this, and this is how the Ginkgo I think is looking at this. You have let's say one test that is doing 10 checks. Okay, like well, let's say I'm checking now a specific feature and I'm creating only one test for it, and inside that test I do 10 by lines and assert I don't know 100 things. So in practice I serialized or ordered all my tests in that one single it, right? Now, what the feature that is given to me now is saying, okay, listen, you can do a common thing before, a common thing at the end, and in the middle you can create how many tests you want, and that's it, and you will get the statistics and everything as you wish, right? This is what my understanding is. Because I don't need to create, for in the example of a classic VM, I create a VM once, I'm doing 10 tests on it specifically, and in the end, I delete it. It's on me. This is how I want it. So this is a feature that Ginkgo is giving me. What you are, what I'm listening here is that you are concerned to use it, but we want to use it because we need it because I want to reduce by half the time of the execution of the test, but I cannot reduce it by half if each test must create a VM. And we have tests that creates the same VM or doesn't need to create so many VM. They can create, instead of creating a VM with interface A and a VM with interface B and a VM with interface C, I can create one VM with 3 interfaces and do all the tests on it, and that's it. But I don't want to call it testing interface A, and testing interface B, and testing interface C. I don't want to call it like that. So in the end, it's just a need. If there is an idea how to, I mean, even if we'll have to work now a week to implement this idea, I think we will take it. So, but if there is no strong, I mean, if you are saying that I can misuse the project, this is why you are not allowing to do one step now. It's a bit problematic because I could do a code that crashes the whole node or does something really bad. So yes, I could do that. That's not. I mean, it's not a reason not to use a feature. That's what I meant.
I was just
Yeah.
trying to say that actually I'm not against this, as I said, and I might repeat myself, but so the thing is, I think this label and this special setup should just be used in special cases where this is really required. And so I have the fear of like everyone getting back to like wanting to run all the tests in a special order so that you never will notice any order dependencies inside the test. And if we are running randomized tests once, everything falls apart. That's the thing I'm worried about.
It's. I think you are correct. It should be worded away.
Anyway, we're not imposing anything on everyone, just giving the possibility.
Is someone talking because I cannot hear? I mean, I hear something.
That's your conscience. Eh?
What?
Sorry.
I said that's just your conscience. No, I think that was it was picking up a voice in the background.
Oh, okay.
We might leave it there, or rather move any further discussion to either the mailing list thread or the PR, both of which are in the agenda notes here, just because we are running out of time. Although, Cheryl, you've thrown your hand up.
Just one comment. We've been using the filtering. I think taking a close look at the Ginkgo, the code that calls it and the setup for it and the teardown for the Ginkgo tests are worth looking at in great detail. And I'd be happy to work. David and I have been encountering some issues with the filtering that we wish would work a little bit better, since we need to filter out things that are not supported on the S390X architecture. It's just a general comment. So.
Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna rocket through the rest of what we've got here. If you see something, throw your hand up and say, yes, I can look at that, and then we'll all be out of here on time. So this is, we're looking at our PRs here. No one's jumped onto this. This is from a new contributor, I believe. It says, fixing this issue. Oh, I think this is adding config in front of everything. Oh, no, different one. It's nice and short. Is anyone able to take a look at this, please? Anyone at all?
You can decide me.
Good man. There it is. The next two are in the same boat. I believe these are new contributors. I think they're all relatively small, and they're fixing good first issues. This is yep.
Yeah. So about that PR, I think. So we are facing a little bit of problem for GSOC. So we have created a bunch of good first issues, but there have been people assigning themselves, even if there was another assignee. And that's the case of this PR, for example. So the original issue was assigned to another person that doesn't open the PR yet.
Okay.
So I haven't reviewed this one exactly for this reason. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what we should do with this, especially if there is a PR.
Yeah. Good point. All right, I will have a look. We'll move this to our Slack channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you see the original issue, it's assigned to another person.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't really. But if you look at the. So I haven't assigned him, but he already created a PR. So if you see, yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
Didn't realize non-org members could self-assign.
Yeah, no, this one is something that Felix and Felix and Daniel, we have already talked about it, that it's not so easy to restrict. Yeah, so we can do some unassigned for the issue, but not really if somebody open a PR.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it's a little bit. People might be just low because it's their first contribution. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't know. Yeah, it's going to last a month, so please hold on this. But yeah, that PR is. I don't know what to do with that.
Okay. Yeah, we can have a think about that, and yeah, pick up in the Slack. Is this going to be in the same? Let's have a look.
Yeah, it's probably a good first issue, but I don't know everything by heart. That's closed. I don't know, it's closed.
Okay. Yeah. So this is
I close it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a bit of a mess for the new PR. Sorry.
Okay. Since you were on you're commenting on the issue, do you want me to tag you on the PR?
Yeah, you can CC me.
Perfect. Then we've got a couple from Daniel.
This is just like I just wanted to bring those to attention because they're lying around for quite a while already. So maybe if some people have time to take a look at this. So first of all, like this one that you're looking at is like an automated job. We had quite a while, we had a discussion about removing inactive users, which we didn't want to do manually because this seemed awkward somehow, because like this seemed like random removal somehow. But if like a job does it, I think this is like just like a regular cleanup, which can be somehow like satisfied much in a better sense somehow. Yeah. So that's just about this. There is on the pull request on the pull request description. I also like did link an example PR that is created from the from this job. I hope that this makes it clear what it does.
I did see this one and I commented, and I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we were also, when we removed them, adding them to the alumni file that we have.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure if I can add that. But yeah, that's a good point that we might need. Maybe at first we need to do that manually somehow. Maybe I'm not sure, like as a follow up or something.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks for that. Yeah. So if people could please throw your eyes onto this this one of Daniel's, and oh, this is a different one.
Yeah, this is like I've been integrating the Golang CI linter in the community repository, and I've started to fix quite a couple of issues when it came to like complexity and stuff. I had to adjust the rules a bit from the default so that it still works. But yeah, at least it's a step into the right direction, I think, because in general, we are striving for improving the code quality overall. So I think this is the right thing to do. Probably people might chime in that we need to do things differently, but yeah, so I fixed at least all the cyclomatic complexity things that are beyond 10, for example, which there were quite a bit. So and I plead guilty to have introduced all these.
Appreciate your honesty. Yeah, so this also sounds like I'm unsurprisingly pro-linter. So if people, looks like you've had some comments already. If you haven't already, if you please chime in on this. And Jan, put one here.
Yeah. So it's not an old PR, but basically what I want to introduce is secure execution VMs. So it's a feature of S390X that you can start your VM and isolate it further from the host. So the host or whatever admin has the host can't actually access the VM. I guess similar to AMD launch security. I have already received off the book feedback that it might be good to refactor this similar to what I did in other architecture specific parts. So that, for example, AMD launch security would be in an AMD file and S390X secure execution would be in an S390X file. One problem I have with CPR, which I can't solve, I put it into a comment, is I wanted to try to make the Virt launcher pod unprivileged. Currently, to start the VM, it needs to be privileged. But from what I can find out, it needs the sys firmware folder, since libvirt checks there, and that one is not mounted inside unprivileged. Unfortunately, I have no enhancement for it, since I basically did the code changes while we changed the process there. So
yeah, proposal will be good, I think, since seems a big feature.
I can draft up a design enhancement PR in the
Yeah, that
repository.
would be good. Yeah.
Try out the new process.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And in the last few minutes, these are all just kind of like FYIs. These are in our mailing list. We've already talked about iterating on the enhancements. There is a discussion about how we change our release schedule, which is ongoing. So far, it's only between two people. This affects everyone, so we want to chime in on. The announcement of the HCO version 1.14, which I believe applies to KubeVirt version 1.4. This one, the CNCF is looking for KubeVirt end users. I don't know if that applies to anyone in this meeting right at the moment, but if you're seeing this on the recording, you have until I think Friday, and there is a draw for people. I can't remember what this is about. Oh, this is actually someone's reached out. I believe this was this morning. Has anyone seen this and had an inkling as to what the issue is? An angry test.
I don't know. Seems like somebody from networking should look at this. Seems like bind fails.
So for networking?
If it has an IP, it's us.
All right. I'll let you guys jump in this. And this one from Nia that we already talked about. I'm going to throw some names onto these 3 bugs since we are out of time. I want to thank you all for being here and for being engaged in everything we've talked about today. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.